morning. We're going to pick up where we left off was last Lord's Day on Genesis 27 and verse number 30. Genesis 27 and verse number 30. And before we go on with this, I want to go back for just a minute or two. And I want to make something known, because sometimes when I hear Jacob and Esau talking about it, it's as if they were children. Get you in the mindset that these things were children, but the Bible says these were men. It says Esau was a man of the field. A man, and Jacob was a plain man. So these were grown men who were doing this. Well, the only reason why I blame Esau, because Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of stew. And Jacob took the advantage of it. Now we could go on to verse Genesis 27 and 30. And it says, and it came to pass as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, and Esau his brother came in from his hunger. Jacob just had made it out, boy. If Jacob had been there when Esau got back, he would have been trouble in the house. But hey, Jacob had just made it out. And he also had made savory meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father rise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. Now, Esau brought the real thing. Esau brought what brought what his father wanted. Venison, deer meat, not gold. And Isaac his brother said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, who? Where is he that have taken venison and brought it me, and I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him, yea, and he shall be blessed. And Isaac still think he had deer meat. He didn't know no different. That's how good his wife had fixed his goat meat to make him think that he had some deer. And when Esau heard the words when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. It's too late to cry now. But I don't hear him just I hear that joke of, ah! I hear him just screaming out till his nose running and everything, and slobbing all out the mouth and trying to get some pity. Now it's too late to cry now. You sold this for a bowl of stew. And he said, that brother came in with subtlety. I guess I'm pronouncing that right, or subtlety, and have taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times, and took away my birthright. And behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou reserved a blessing for me? Now, yeah, Jacob did do his brother wrong when he came from the field and wanted something to eat, and he told him, see him in your birthright this day. And just like I said, now if that was my brother, your brother, or just say your sister too, and come in and say I'm hungry, aren't you gonna feed them? Is you gonna charge him anything? Yeah, Jacob took advantage of the situation. I keep losing the spot. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for service. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. He's still crying. Yes. This thing here hurt him, because he was the firstborn son. And the firstborn son was supposed to get a double portion of his father's assets. Not only that, the firstborn was supposed to be get the rights to be the head of the family. The firstborn had all of it. The only way the firstborn could lose these rights is that he commit incest with his father's concubine, or he sell his birthright like Esau did. Yes. This is the only way they could lose it. And Isaac blessed Jacob because he didn't realize that Jacob was not his firstborn. But this what God had said from the beginning. The elder is going to serve the younger. And now I don't like the way it was done. The way it was carried out, I don't like it. But just like I said, God didn't need no help to do it from nobody to bring this thing here about. But anyway, this the way it went down. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessings wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. This thing that went from bad to worse. See, anytime you start hating, or Slewfoot done made his way in. I call him Slewfoot. 2 left feet. Anytime you start hating somebody, That's the devil. But out of all the things what he went through and everything, I still say time, or should time, heal all wounds. I'm gonna kill him. Almost sound like just hit another one of them forgetful moments. Yes. That's what I'm trying to think about. It almost sound like that. I'm gonna kill him. He done took away my blessings. He done took all of this away from me. Now the only thing I can do now, think about it, I want to kill him. I want to kill my brother. And to slay to slay somebody, that means you want to do them all bodily. You want to just, destroy them bodily, physically, bodily all. That's the worst kind of death. They want to just mutilate your body. And these words of Esau, her eldest son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau is touching thee, doth comfort himself, proposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee to the land, thy brother to Aram, and tarry with him a few days, until thy brother's fury turn away, until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? Not saying that now time she played a part in this. Now that's what you done to your brother. But see, Jacob didn't know nothing about this until she came and told him, said that I heard your father tell Esau to go out here and go fetch me some venison and let me eat it and bless you before I die. Now she tell me because what you done to your brother, he want to kill you. Now we want you got to leave here and go to your brother. To Laban, that's his uncle. Because you trying to get away from Esau, because Esau want to hurt you. Now, I'm just gonna paraphrase from there on to the point to where I want to start back here. Now, Rebekah sent Jacob away because of what Esau wanted to kill his brother. So he sent Jacob over to Laban, his uncle. And really she was sending him away not only because Jacob wanted to kill him, but she wanted to send him away because she didn't want him to marry none of the women over in the land where they were dwelling that day. And so she sent him over there to find him a wife too. And when Jacob got to Laban, he saw Rachel, just paraphrasing, bringing the sheep to the watering place where they watered the flock in. And Jacob ran up and watered the flock of Rebekah and kissed Rebekah and told her that she was the brother of her mother's son. Well, I'm your first cousin. Now, I'm some kin to you. Now she went and told Laban, and Laban came back and said, yeah, you my flesh and my blood. And he dwelt with Laban for about a month, 30 days, about 4 months. And then it came down to where he was, when he stayed with Laban, he asked Laban asked him, should you serve me for nothing? And he said that he would serve Laban for his daughter, Rachel. And he served with Laban for 7 years for Rachel. But when it came down to the fulfilling of the 7 years, because the Bible said the 7 years seemed there's nothing for Jacob, because Jacob loved Rachel. And it seemed like them years just like that. Well, that's nothing. And when he asked Laban for his wife, he came to him and he said, give me my wife. And he said, okay, I'm going to give you your wife. But when he went into his wife, he didn't give him Rachel. He gave him Leah. Leah was the oldest daughter. He said when he went into it and found out that morning that it was Leah instead of Rachel, he said, what you done to me? Now, I think Jacob was getting a little taste of his own medicine. But anyway, he said that I shouldn't give the younger before the older. And right then he said, well, I'll serve for you 7 more years. And he served for Rachel with Laban for 7 more years so that he could marry Rachel. And when all that came to pass and everything like that, Jacob had served 20 years from this time on up to now. He served 20 years with Laban. Because each time he would go to Laban would change his wages and stuff, and he said, I've been serving with you all of this time, 20 years, changed my wages 10 times. And then it came to pass, the Lord came to Jacob and told Jacob, says, now, it's time for you to go back home. Now, when he went back home, he had to go back to the land of Edom, his brother. And this is where we want to pick back up in our story, in chapter 32 of Genesis. Brother William, read for me 32, chapter 32, Genesis 32, 1 through 5.
And Jacob went on his way, and the angel of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, this is God's host. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob said thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, and flocks, and men servants, and women servants, and I have sent to tell my lord that I may find grace in thy sight.
Keep going.
And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels, into 2 bands, and said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape.
Okay. Good. Now Jacob is going back through the land, and he's making preparation to meet his brother. he's trying to get these, get to where he could meet him, that he could try to appease Esau, because he still think Esau was thinking about what had happened to him years ago. Then Jacob was greatly distressed and afraid. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him. I'm reading in verse number 7. And the flocks and herd and the camels into 2 bands, and said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other companies which is left shall escape. He tried to figure out a way. If Esau still angry at him, that if he come, he tried to see a way that he could save, if not all, part of his family. But one thing I like about what Esau did, or Mr. Jacob did, Jacob prayed. And he prayed like this. He said, and Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which said unto me, return unto thy country, and to thy kindred, and I will deal with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies, and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. Jacob is reminding God, God, you said, I'm going to be with you. Now, I'm afraid of my brother. I'm afraid of what he might do to me. But you said, God. You said. My seed is going to be at the sand of the seashore. Almost like he was saying to God, God, if he killed me, how can this be? But you said, God. Brother Thomas, read for me 13 through 17.
13.
Chapter 32, 13 through 17.
All right. And he led them that same night then, took off that which came to his hand, a present for Esau, his brother, 200 she-goats, and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams, 30 bilged camels, which their coats 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 fowls. And he delivered them unto the hand of his servant. Every drove by themselves, and said unto his servant, pass over before me, and put a space between drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau, my brother, meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, who art thou, and whither goest thou, and before thee.
Now he bringing gifts and stuff to give his brother. Just like I said, to try to appease him and make sure that Esau is not going to do him harm, nor his family harm. Or if he do, he tried to put him in a position if one be destroyed, the other might be able to escape. Brother Daniel, 17 through 21.
And he commanded the foremost, saying, When Esau my brother meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, Whose art thou, and whither goest thou? Whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, They be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto thy lord Esau. And behold, also he is behind us. And so commanded he the second, and the third, and all that followed the droves, saying, On this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when you find him, and say ye moreover, Behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will please him with the present that goeth before me. And afterward I will see his face, peradventure he will accept of me. So went the present over before him and himself lodged that night in the company.
Keep reading.
And he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called and named the place Peniel. For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved.
And God preserved Jacob's life. When he prayed for God that I'm afraid of my brother. And he sent all these gifts before his brother and everything, trying to appease him and stuff like that, because he had to go right through the land of Eden and everything. And he remembers this. But when we keep on going, and I don't want to skip it, but anyway, because we're about to run out of time. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh, until this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. And there Jacob wrestled with the angel all that night. And the angel couldn't prevail against Jacob, so he touched him in his thigh. And Jacob limped from then on. No, Jacob, he remembered how he did his brother. That's why he was so afraid. He knew the things that he had done to his brother were wrong. But we're going to see next week that Esau, what time can do if you give it a chance to do what it's supposed to do. He's supposed to take away all of these things what hinder us and make us do things by hating people and stuff like that. And some people hold on to stuff till the day they die. And then it's too late. Forgiveness do not bound you. Forgiveness set you free. Can anybody tell you that I'm not going to forgive, I'm not going to forgive, I'm going to hold on to it till the day I die? When you die, it's going to be too late.
Yes, sir.
Because if you don't forgive, God ain't going to forgive you. And we'll pick up from this point next Lord's Day.
Good.